Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, you know, one thing I love about this election cycle, people are very passionate. Every time I interview candidates or talk to people on the street or at events, people are very passionate. You know, in Saratoga proper, of course, it's about the change in the form of government. But boy, something's going on in Wilton. And I affectionately referred to the new slate of Democratic candidates as the Wilton Five, and I keep hearing about it back again. Well, this person sitting next to me had an awful lot to do with this. This is Pat Tuz. She's the Wilton Democratic Committee chair. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
Nice to have you here. I've gotten to know Pat pretty well over the last couple of months, and I've interviewed many of the candidates on the Democratic slate. And let's go back, in case some of the viewers don't know the history on this. Why did you get involved in this to start with?
Well, I've been in this town for 11 years, and over the years, the county chair has asked me to take on the chairmanship of the town. And this year, with the past election this fall, I realized the time has come. And my point of view is that all politics is local. It's very important for people to get out and vote first in their local elections, and then everything else continues on from there. And our local election in Wilton is especially important because we're facing a town that has experienced a population growth that's one of the largest in New York State. We're going to be at 18,000 people. So you can't run the town the same way you did 40 years ago. The whole idea of the no town tax, well, that's just great, but we're also facing an exploding population that will reach, for sure, 18,000 in the next census.
You know what? There's an underlying thing here that I want to fill in. Having interviewed you before and having interviewed the slate of candidates, the operative word here is choice, two operative words, choice and transparency. And they really do fold into what you're saying. You know, status quo is one thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You hear those kinds of things. And I understand that. And I'm not suggesting that anybody's done anything wrong in the town of Wilton. But with a town that does see explosive growth like that, if there is a feeling, and that's what we're talking about here, that there isn't choice or there isn't transparency, well, then proper representation comes into question, right?
That's right. I mean, we've had some situations arise recently where now that, you know, everybody gets their campaign donations, you know, we look at where they're coming from. And for instance, the supervisor that's been the incumbent supervisor gets all his donations, you know, from some of the developers, from the businesses that do business with Wilton. In particular, there was one very unpopular apartment complex that the citizens were not really for, but yet he gets a donation from them. And there's nothing even wrong with it, but if you get donations from all these developers and businesses, how do we know that you're listening to what the people have to say? And you really represent the people of this town, not the businesses and developers.
Well, you know, just to that point, to be fair, I know a lot of developers, and, you know, they want to either give back to the community or they want to support. Everybody does this. They want to support the candidates that they feel will help grow the agenda for making the town prosperous, but also their own personal business growth. I totally get that. But quite honestly, I think even more so than that, Pat, is that if everybody's done it that way for 40 years, as legitimate as it might be, where is the choice?
That's right.
That's what hits me.
Yeah, and I mean, we've done it this way for years and years and years. There's nothing wrong with the development or the developers that we've incurred so far, but we've also had an agenda and plans to grow our town to benefit the people. And I often don't see those plans and promises followed through. For instance, we have 3 plans. We have the economic development plan, we have the comprehensive plan, and we have the open space plan. On all those plans, they talk about having multi-use paths and bike paths. And this has been going on for certainly the 10 years that I've lived here, but I've never seen a multi-use path. And I guess I would like to see, if that's what they planned, why don't we follow through with that before we built the splash pad in Gavin Park, which again, there's nothing wrong with. It's great, people like it, but where are some of these things that we've talked about and are in the plans? To your point there, without getting caught in the weeds here, Pat,
yeah. There are projects that are green lighted in every town, in every community. It's a process by which they've been green lighted. I don't know the particulars on the Gavin Park thing, but I've seen a splash park. And also, someone had mentioned to me at one point with Wilton, well, why not a swimming pool? So people are making decisions on behalf of the citizens of the community, using their taxpayer money. Again, it just goes back to, is there enough transparency involved? Is there enough choice? And that's quite honestly what the Democratic Committee is involved with in Wilton right now. And I know this, Pat, because I've been interviewed the candidates.
Yes.
And all the candidates are like that. So I think the one message that we want to say to the viewers is that we have an election coming up. We live in a democracy. Check out all perspectives. Check out all the voices. Check out all the slates so that you can make an informed decision. And quite honestly, I think in Wilton, maybe that's been a little too one-sided maybe you want to keep it the same, that's fine, but maybe it's been a little too one-sided for too many years. Hence, your effort and the effort of the people that are running for office.
We need to bring more often into the process.
You got it. Here's what you need to do. Go to, the website is SaratogaCountyDems.org/Wilton. And you can find out about all the candidates. I've been there. It's very informative. The issues are listed there. Priorities are listed there. And it gives you a real good sense so that when Election Day rolls around, you'll have a lot of information. That website, again, is SaratogaCountyDems.org/Wilton. Well, you're very passionate about this, Pat. You even wrote your notes. I love it.
I got my notes, and I want to tell everybody to get out and vote, above all else, on November 7th.
You've got it. Thanks. Great to see you again.
Good to be here.
You got it. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.